And welcome everybody back to a brand new daily live of the Lando Project. I'm your host Lando Payne. Not joined with my good friend BC. That'll only be on Sundays. This is the now daily live show that we're going to be doing. In case you guys want to know who's actually controlling the show, my beautiful wife Lindsay. She's back there.
Hey.
She's getting down and jiggy and running everything. So yeah, we're going to just kind of go through the latest movie news, TV news, and then get into the rest of this show. So without further ado, let's kind of just get into everything. So, do you guys remember last year when the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer dropped? Right, the world was in awe of Angela Bassett's performance. Critics were raving, fans were swooning, and everyone was ready to acknowledge that she is just indeed the best, right? It was like the stars were aligning for her for a moment. The movie came out, the praise only escalated. It was just like a crescendo, a symphony of acclaim that building up to this moment when she finally would receive her well deserved Oscar, right? And she was indeed nominated. We get to the show, the envelope was open, and the award was announced. Not Angela Bassett, but instead the Oscar went to Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, don't get me wrong, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a great movie. It's a cinematic smorgasbord that pretty much lives up to its name. But Jamie Lee Curtis winning over Angela Bassett, I mean, come on, Academy. What were you thinking? Olive, I'm sorry. But just, God, just guys don't know, the Academy has a new plan, okay? They're not giving Angela Bassett an actual Oscar, but instead they're going to be giving her an honorary Oscar. You know, the kind of award that's essentially the Academy's version of an awkwardly late birthday card. Because nothing says we really dropped the ball on this one, like a consolation prize a few months after the main event. Now, let's be clear, an honorary Oscar isn't just nothing, okay? Now, it's a nod to the fact that we are going to recognize this person's career over their course of work. Many notable people have gotten Oscars, but when you compare it to a real Oscar, it's a bit like comparing a gold star sticker to a gold medal. They're both shiny, sure, but one has a bit more weight to it, literally and figuratively. And it's just not about the trophy itself, it's about the timing. Giving an honorary Oscar after a controversial decision, well, it feels a bit like a make-up call in a football game. Oh, we messed up that last call, but don't worry, we'll make it up for you on the next one. It's a little late. The truth is, it's just not about the award. It's about the recognition, the celebration of talent, the acknowledgement of an exceptional performance, and when that's delayed or relegated to an honorary award, it's hard to see how it's just an afterthought. It's a bit of a whoops. We didn't realize you were amazing until everyone else did kind of a situation. Receiving honorary Oscars also are comedy legends Mel Brooks and editor Carol Littleton. And let me just say that these two absolutely deserve the recognition. Mel Brooks, the man who wrote The Producers, and Carol Littleton is the woman who behind the editing magic of one of the world's most beloved films of all time, E.T. So good for them. Finally, some decent choices by the Academy. It's just a shame they didn't get it right the very first time with Angela Bassett. Now let's raise a glass to the honorary Oscar recipients. May they enjoy their well-deserved moment. And here's hoping the Academy learns to recognize their talent in real time rather than in retrospect. Now that being said, let's move on over to Mortal Kombat 2. Yes, that's right, the sequel to the movie that somehow managed to become one of HBO Max's, now Max, biggest streaming hits during the height of the pandemic, despite being, well, let's just say, critically divisive. Now here's the things that's interesting. They've cast Carl Urban, the star of The Boys, Thor Ragnarok, and Dredd, as the one and only Johnny Cage. Urban has decided to get into character by shaving his beard, and you guys will not believe this, and by frosting his tips. Oh yeah, but man's got frosted tips and is here to stay. It's like he looked in the mirror one day and thought, you know what this Mortal Kombat sequel really need? A generous helping of that good old 90s boy band nostalgia. I mean, seriously, frosted tips. It looks so outdated, even Justin Timberlake is probably somewhere laughing. But let's be real, it's Carl Urban. The man could show up wearing parachute pants and we still think he's the coolest thing since sliced bread. But the casting doesn't stop there. Oh no, they're pulling out all stops. We've got Martin Ford as Outworld Emperor Shao Kahn, a role so intimidating. I had to do a double take it just to make sure it wasn't a typo. Then we've got Desmond Cham as Edenian King Gerard and Anna Tu Nguyen as Queen Sindel. Queen Sindel, by the way, is one of my favorite people in the video games. If you're thinking, wait, I thought this was a fighting game, not a royal court drama, then join the club. And let's not forget that Damon Harriman is also going to be joining this cast, and he'll be bringing us the delightful nightmare fuel that is NetherRealm demon Quan Chi. Because when you've got a roster of fighters, kings and queens, the only logical next step is to throw a demon in the mix. The screenplay is going to be penned by Jeremy Slater, the head writer of Moon Knight. Now, I personally like Moon Knight, but it's all up to you on how you guys liked it. So if you're a fan of complex narratives and stunning fight scenes, then you're going to probably be in for a real treat. The official logline of this movie tells us that the sequel continues the story of a group of ragtag fighters versed in the ways of martial arts who defend our reality, which is known as Earthrealm, against the Outworld. It's the kind of plot that sounds like it was brainstormed in the middle of a caffeine-fueled all-nighter, and frankly, we're all here for it. Mortal Kombat 2 doesn't have a confirmed release date just yet, but we're eagerly waiting. After all, with a cast like this and a script from Jeremy Slater, it's shaping up to be a pretty good movie. Here's hoping the fight scenes are as electrifying as Carl Urban's new hairstyle, and the plot is intense as his commitment to 90s nostalgia. Now, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about Marvel. Recently, the Marvel Studios show Secret Invasion debuted on Disney Plus and is causing quite a stir. Not for its thrilling storyline or the return of Samuel L. Jackson's hopefully iconic eye patch, but because its opening sequence was created using artificial intelligence. This led to a social media outcry as users speculated that the use of AI had cost artists their jobs. However, Method Studios, the company behind the opening, clarified that the AI tools only complemented and assisted their creative teams, and no jobs were lost in the process. AI is revolutionizing how films are made. Companies like StoryFit are using AI to analyze scripts, evaluate audience connections, identify character imbalances, and assess marketability. AI in film is like having an overly analytical film critic, but one that actually helps make movies better. However, this technological advancement doesn't come without its controversies. The Writers Guild of America is currently fighting for rules around AI usage in the film industry. They argue that in a world increasingly dependent on AI, acknowledging its role in film production is key. AI in the film industry is like a film by Christopher Nolan. It's complex, innovative, and half the people don't understand what's going on. But whether we like it or not, it's making a huge impact on how movies are made. All right, now let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the weekend box office, okay? And much like my childhood birthday parties, it's a mixed bag of excitement, disappointment, and questions about where all the money went. At the top of the charts, we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse pulling in an impressive $19.4 million, soaring high above all other summer releases like a well-adjusted teenager who can miraculously afford New York rent. With a domestic haul of $317 million and a global total of $560 million, it seems like the Spider-Man franchise is the Jeff Bezos of superhero films, just without the questionable labor practices. Meanwhile, Disney's Elemental, which might be a movie about a magical rock or a wind spirit with a sense of humor, depending on who you ask, dipped just about 38% in its sophomore frame, accruing a respectable $65.3 million statewide and $121 million worldwide. It seems to be settling to respectful numbers, which is fitting for a movie that probably features water in some capacity. Now, the Jennifer Lawrence comedy, BC saw it, he gets a good reviews, go check that out in yesterday's episode. No Hard Feelings came in with a $15.1 million opening. Now, while that might not blow the lid off of the box office, but with a $45 million budget, this movie doesn't have to hit Marvel numbers to find success. But to find success, we got some technical issues over here. It's like the tortoise in the race, slow and steady, but with a lot more sex jokes. Transformers: Rise of the Beast keeps rolling with a haul of $11.6 million, and Asteroid, Wes Anderson's Asteroid City, also had a solid outing with $9.9 million, overtaking the wide release of Grand Budapest Hotel, which is no small feat given that the movie may have had more stars than A Clear Night in the Countryside. Now, if you're like me and you've probably spent the last week trying to avoid hearing about the box office results for the latest DC film, The Flash, I don't blame you. because, geez, it hasn't been a disaster. It's like watching someone trip over a banana peel, but the banana peel is only worth 1.1 billion. If you haven't heard yet, The Flash has spectacularly underperformed at the box office, opening to a mere 55 million in the U.S. and Canada, grossing just 135 million worldwide. That's just that's just like turning up to a royal wedding and a pair of Crocs and a novelty T-shirt. It's just not something up to standard. And some industry veterans are saying that even the movie should have opened to 120 million domestic, calling this an unmitigated disaster. This is the kind of disaster that you get when you mix Superman's laser vision with Aquaman's water control. No one comes out try, and everyone is a bit singed. The Flash is the second of four mega budgeted DC adaptations that Warner Brothers is set to release this year. And yet it seems like the movies are now dying orphans in a dying cinematic universe, with a new DC Studios chief planning to reboot the franchise in 2025. Because what the world needs right now is, of course, another Batman. We only had two of them. We got one more in the pipeline. We're going to get another one after that. Because rich white men fighting crime in animal themed costumes just seems to be a thing that we all get our jiggles in a jiggle about. You okay? Oh, sorry. Artists feel like they have to invest 2 hours of their life going to the movies because it's no longer about moving the story forward. It's just it's just nothing anymore. You might enjoy the change of scenery, but it's not going to stop the ship from sinking. And to add insult to injury, the Flash rollout also faced unprecedented difficulties caused by a star, Ezra Miller, who has been out in the public eye amidst multiple allegations of misconduct, abuse, and assault, citing complex mental issues as the reason. It's like if the Flash himself had to fight crime, but his only superpower was making his own film flop at the box office. So, DC, here's a bit of advice. Maybe next time, instead of investing over $1 billion into your movies, try investing in, I don't know, perhaps a good story, or maybe even perhaps a hero whose a superpower is not self sabotage. And now, this last word. All right, so uh, full screen. So it looks like we actually had some breaking news earlier today drop that I kind of wanted to get into. Okay, so it looks like Superman Legacy screen tests have actually been occurring, and we've actually the Hollywood Reporter dropped this article not too long ago. Babe, can you pull up the article? Cool. So Hollywood Reporter dropped this article earlier. We've had a chance to kind of look at it, and they're kind of detailing a little bit about the screen tests that were performed for the Superman Legacy over the course of the June 17th weekend. Now, it's been previously reported that we've had these guys up for these screen tests, and we had Nicholas Hoult, Tom Brittney, and David Cornsweet. They were up for the roles of Superman, and we were hearing that Rachel Brosnahan, Phoebe Dynevor, if I mess that name up, I'm sorry, and Emma Mackey were up for the roles of Lois Lane. Now that all sounded good, and we actually talked about this on the Lando Project a few weeks ago. I had mentioned that my number one pick for this I like so far was that David Cornsweet guy, and then I like the Rachel Brosnahan just because of Marvelous Miss Maisel. But it looks like what they did over the June 17th weekend actually is that they grouped the actors and the actresses together, and here's the pairings. So you had Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan. They were paired together. Tom Brittney and Phoebe were paired, and then David Cornsweet and Emma Mackey were paired together. So pretty much when they went to do their auditions, they were in the room together. Now it also says that if I'm not mistaken, Emma was to come back the next day and actually audition with the other finalists to potentially be Superman. And then also this article also mentions that they have some Lex Luthor potentials as well. And I lost who that was. It was saying, where's it at? Yeah, Alexander and Bill Skarsgård were mentioned as being the role finalists for Lex Luthor. Now, yesterday on the Lando Project, BC was mentioning that uh, Joel Edgerton was up for that role, and I really like Joel in that. Now, Alexander and Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård, if I'm not mistaken, he was the guy that was in It, right? Alexander Skarsgård, I believe he's the older brother to Bill. He's also up for the role of Lex Luthor. Lindsay, I want to pass it to you real quick. So, Alexander and Bill Skarsgård, do you know who they are?
No.
Okay. Well, they're brothers first.
Okay.
Okay. How would you feel if you were up for a movie role and your sister was up for one, and then the whole world knew that you were up for like arguably the most pivotal people?
Oh, well, then I would do everything I can to make sure that we got the roles.
Well, it's only one role. It's
They
one
are
role.
going over
They're
the.
they're
Oh,
they're going for the same
God.
role.
Oh, no. Well, then I'll do everything in my power to
Destroy
get the
her.
role.
Destroy this person.
Yes.
Well, that's essentially what's happening. So you got Bill and Alexander Skarsgård supposedly up for Lex Luthor. We've heard Joel Edgerton, and I can't remember who else BC said yesterday. But I like everything so far. I like what we're hearing about this. Let me turn that on. I really do like it. Oh, sorry, I lost my role. Let's see what it actually says here. Do you have the article put up for the viewers?
Yes.
Okay, I'm over here where it says. Okay, after all those ads. Gunn, according to sources, assembled three actors and three actresses for Superman and Lane, respectively. And on Saturday, the first day of the testing, the actors were seen in predetermined pairs: Nicholas Hoult and Rachel, Tom Brittany and Phoebe, and David and Emma Mackey. They were given several scenes to film, in which the males were in makeup and wardrobe as Daily Planet reporter Kent, while the females were plucky journalist Lane. Which is pretty cool that they're kind of going the Clark Kent route. I was expecting them kind of to throw him into a suit and see how they would look as Superman, but it looks like they're actually going to be testing for Clark Kent. This is one of those characters, obviously, of course, that has that duality approach, right? You have just similar to like Batman, you have the Bruce Wayne Batman. Here, you got the Clark Kent and Supes. And I know James Gunn was mentioning on the Michael Rosenbaum podcast Inside of You a few weeks ago the duality of Superman, a little bit more context, and about how he has to have the that peacefulness about him. So in that real pure of heart kind of spirit. So I like these names. I really do like these names. Now the only one on these names that I'm not too familiar with would be Tom Brittany. Tom Brittany is the one that I don't know all too much about it, but Nicholas Hoult is the one that we've seen more because of his time as Beast in X Men. Uh, Originally reported Nicholas when we first heard the rumors about Nicholas Hoult, though he was supposedly going to be up for Lex Luthor. So I don't know if they have Nicholas Hoult testing for Superman and Lex, and the article does not say that as well. It does hint that that was the rumor as well, but it only says that Nicholas Hoult was testing for Superman. So that's kind of the big stuff, man. I'm really looking forward to actually getting the official casting. Now, BC texted me earlier before the show. He was saying that San Diego Comic Con this year was going to be pretty much of a bust because I don't know if you heard that all the major movie studios have kind of pulled out. Like Sony pulled out, Disney pulled out, Paramount I believe also pulled out. Warner Brothers has yet to determine if they actually pulled out, right? So they should still be. Hopefully, we get some Warner Brothers news. Hopefully, James Gunn he realizes that with everyone else not being there, this is their chance to kind of retake Comic Con. And I know that since post COVID, this would be the first really big Comic Con in a while. I know they tried to do Comic Con last year and it was kind of mid. So hopefully this year they kind of bring it back. But that's kind of the news on Superman. Do you have anything to add?
No, I'm just looking forward to his pick because he knows characters and is very big on character development, and he wants to come in and make movies like you're supposed to, and work on the characters and fall in love with your characters over time. So I'm excited to see who he picks for this farm boy and watch Superman grow into the big hero.
To the big guy,
Yeah.
Big Red. That'd be cool. Well, James, whenever you figure out who it is, let me know first before everybody else, so I can break it on my channel. All right, moving on. Kind of switching gears a little bit. Over the weekend, I mean not over the weekend, last week, the world was kind of stuck in a. Everyone was glued to the channel trying to figure out what was going on with this Ocean Gate, right? The submarine that, unfortunately, we had five people that went out on this submarine out to visit the ruins of the Titanic, and they never came back. We were given reports from multiple news outlets that during the time of them being underwater, that we had gotten recordings of potential audio recordings from inside of the submarine, which we do have that technology. I know that to hear um, those certain kind of noises, those percussion kind of noises throughout the water. But we supposedly got some tape like that, and they never sent enough. Like I don't understand why this Ocean Gate crew never had their own mobile rover that can go down and dive to try to reclaim them. But uh, the long story short, the submarine actually imploded. It seems they didn't really discuss everything about all the details yet, but it seems like the submarine imploded on itself. Now, what does that mean? Uh, Pretty much, water, if you guys don't know, is a lot heavier than air, right? So I believe that if you go like 100 meters underneath the water, 400 meters underneath the water, it's that amount of water that's sitting above you is actually about 40 times more than like I think the atmospheric pressure. When you submerge so deep, so far down, you're actually going against a lot of external water stresses, which is really putting a number on your vessel. And James Cameron, right? James Cameron, the movie director, right? The James Cameron from Avatar fame and uh, Titanic fame. If you guys don't know, he has actually been an avid submarine guy for a while, starting with his time when he was actually doing a documentary on Titanic. He actually went down, I believe, about 7,000, 8,000 meters um, to the Titanic. And then lately, I believe he broke the record, the Challenger 2 expedition, um, where he actually, I believe, went down about 10,500 meters, something like that, something close to it. And he's actually been on the record saying that he understood, and he knew about this company, he knew the guy, and he's actually tried to warn him several times about the instability of the submarine, and warned him that someone's going to die, and not just one person died, but five people unfortunately lost their life. Well, now another person that seemed to work with James Cameron is also talking. Who worked for James Cameron, who dove to the Titanic with James Cameron, another visual effects guy, John Bruno. I guess now he's also talking about this as well. Everyone has their thoughts on it, and he's also saying that the haul of that ship was just not worth it. It's really unfortunate. Lindsay, you had a chance to read this article.
Yeah, it's crazy. I am very claustrophobic, so I would never go into something like this. But just how they went into it, there was no safety measures, no guidelines, no nothing. It's just, hey, we're getting in here and then we're just going. And so um, Bruno is talking about how when they went down for the movie, they always had a sub or a thing like you were talking about above them to be able to grab them and take them wherever they needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And they had so many safety measures in place, and these are just people who are like, okay, yep, this is this is fine. We've done this 100 times and nothing's happened, so why not go again? And it's just sad reality is like just because it happened times before doesn't mean it's not going to happen or it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a terrifying experience. Now, I was reading an article yesterday, which really caught my eye, that I guess Mr. Beast was texted earlier this month,
Yeah.
and he was invited to go, I believe, on this very same excursion. He said that he got a text message from a friend saying, "Hey, the guys would love it if you were to join us. We're going at the end of the month. We're going to go see the Titanic." I can only guess that that was this trip here, or it would have been a trip right before this one. But I'm guessing that it was this very same exact thing. Talk about, you know, an angel on the wings, right? Talk about someone looking out for you. And I know that Mr. Beast has been in the news lately for I guess people are he's controversial because he's giving people money. I don't know. People find the negative in that, but when you put good out into the world, the good calls back, right?
Yep.
And it looks like someone or subconsciously Mr. Beast had something looking out for him because he didn't go on this trip because he would have been number six.
Right. Oh
Um,
my goodness.
and I couldn't imagine now. Like I said, I've been in submarines. I work on submarines. Um, our nuclear submarines for the Navy, and they're a lot bigger than the ones that you saw going underwater, and also they're a lot more very very strict regimen about how we have to prepare and test and drill our submarines. Constant testing, pressure testing, line testing, steam testing, reactor plant testing. Several types of testing that has to be done, and if anything is out of spec, which we have the general specification, like here's the minimum, here's the maximum, right? And what the Navy does is they kind of cut those in, right? So that we always have a lot of wiggle room. And even those very conservative testing grounds, if something is out of spec in that, we don't go out. We don't go out, right? We have to extend other people's shore sea duties. Yes, that's true. But for the safety of those 150 to 200 sailors that's on those submarines, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. We use so much money. We spend so much of the military spending to make sure that these boats are adequate. That to even understand that there is a company out there that knows that there are safety precautions and that they're just going to bypass those safety precautions and not be certified is wild. It's wildly mind blowing. Um, I understand that these guys were billionaires with all kinds of bread, and $250,000, which was the price of admission for this ticket, is nothing to them. Price isn't the issue here. It's the idea that with that much amount of money that you're making, you couldn't afford more than a PlayStation controller. You know,
Yeah.
you couldn't actually afford for a decent hull that can withstand the depths of water of 10,000 meters of water pressure. It's the Venturi effect. It's how much there's no way that going forward, um, these kinds of things are going to be allowed to fly, right? I
Yeah.
understand that they sign waivers, and I don't know how those waivers will stand up in the court of law whenever they sign their life away, essentially saying, hey, you could potentially die. I don't know if those will actually hold up, but after this, there has to be. I don't know what's going to be the course of action for Ocean Gate. I don't know if Ocean Gate's going to still be in business because the CEO of that company went down with them. So I don't know who's taking over with that company, but I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of sanctions or a lot of changes that's going to be made with submersibles in general. It's it's really really sad. This
Yeah.
really shouldn't happen. There's really no reason why this should happen. And you're right. If you were to even dive, you always have to plan for the worst. Hey, what happens if you get down there and you get stuck? Well, the right thing to do would be to have a secondary rover unit that you can send out to wiggle these people out. If they just had a secondary person, they would have at least known immediately if they were to survive the crush depth, or two, if they were stuck to get them out. Because the way that the submarine was built, they were bolted on the outside, so they couldn't even
Right.
escape. So
Yeah.
they couldn't even escape. Not to say that you would want to escape. if you don't understand how water works, you don't want to just swim out and then swim up 10,000 meters. You'll blow your head up, right? But that figuratively, but there is a lot of pressure there that you have to swim up. If you ever scuba dive, people do scuba dive out there. You understand what I mean? You have to swim up a little bit, let the pressure balance, and then you can swim up some more, let the pressure balance, and you keep on doing that until you reach the surface. You just don't swim up. So it's a very, very, like I said, it's sad. It's sad. I just wanted to give my piece on that. I've had a lot of people messaging me about my thoughts on this because they know that I'm a factor submariner, and so they want to know, hey, you've been in those things. Are these things really that cramped? No, they're not that cramped normally because we actually can. We have a whole engine room full of turbines and you have berthing racks and all this kind of stuff. But for this was a five. I don't even think five people could really genuinely fit in here. You know, it's smaller than this room. You know, so rest in peace, everybody out there on the Ocean Gate stuff, and shame on you also if you're the kind of the guy making jokes about this stuff. I mean, I know that memes are all the rage, but you never want to wish people and their life to go away because someone might wish that upon you. That's why I look at it. And just like Mr. Beast, put that good out into the world because it might come back.
They were just everyday people as well. So.
Yeah, and actually, I think that one of the guys, he was an 18-year-old kid, and he didn't even want to go on it. I think he did it to fulfill his dad's wish. You know. So as you guys are making jokes about it, just understand that hey, we lost a kid. You know, it's a shame. Switching gears, Patti LaBelle. You want to break this in on this article?
All right. Well, Patti LaBelle, she gave a powerful and uplifting tribute to Tina Turner, and she sang "Simply the Best."
Yes.
But she did forget the lyrics a few times, but she handled it with grace, and she sang really well. So, I mean, power to her. It was a good performance.
It's cool to hear that they did. I didn't know this was at the BET Awards,
Mhm.
right? This was at the BET Awards. I haven't seen the BET Awards in a while. Since they got rid of the ciphers, I've stopped tuning into the BET Awards. If they still do the ciphers, let me know. But I think that the ciphers, they're trash. But it's good that Patty went out there and did something for Tina. I love Patty. I love Tina. Rest in peace to Tina Turner, by the way. Um, she was absolutely just the
It was
best.
simply the
Simply the
best.
best. You was going there, right? And it's cool that Patty did that tribute for her. I really have no thoughts on it. I figured you were the music person, so you would have more to speak on.
Oh, well, no, she was very good. I loved her performance, and the crowd loved it too. That's why she couldn't see the teleprompter because they were standing up
Oh,
in front of it.
so they had a teleprompter.
Yes, and she could
Oh,
not see it.
it's okay. We got one too, and I fumbled on the words too. It
Yeah.
happens, Patty. Don't worry about it. It happens. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Now this one was more your speed though, right? With Paul McCartney.
Oh, yes.
This is more your speed. So we have an article here. Paul McCartney clarifies use of AI in upcoming Beatles song. Nothing has been artificially or synthetically created. Now, I'm ready for the booze. I'm not a Beatles fan. I'm not a Beatles fan, so I don't know. Is Beatles the one with John Lennon?
Yes.
That's the one with John Lennon?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like they're finishing up a song that they recorded years ago.
Yes.
They're using AI, which, damn AI, you ruined the Secret Invasion opener, right? They're using AI, the voice recognition software, to clean up this song, finish out some of the pieces, and then with Paul McCartney's approval, they're putting it out. Now, is this just one song that he did, that they did?
Yes. And so it's not AI singing it. So for people who are thinking like, oh my gosh, AI just like they have Drake, Kendrick Lamar, all of them. No, it's actually his voice. They're using AI to simply break the tracks up. So um, they are able to pinpoint the voice, the guitar, the piano, and you just tell them no guitar, and it'll play the piano and the voice, or you can just say no piano, and it just plays the voice. So that's how they're using AI to help create this new song.
So wait, okay, hold on, wait. So they're using it to take out audio tracks?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's legit. I'm
Mhm.
down for that.
Yep. So it's actually him singing.
So are they using it to like auto tune a little bit? Did they say?
It did not say on there, but I doubt it. I think it's just to peel back the music to get just his voice, because
Uh,
they are performing and recording all the instruments separately.
who is everyone else a part of the Beatles?
Yes,
Is John Lennon the only one that died?
I believe so.
Is he?
I don't know. I think so.
So they got the band back together in conventional terms.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. That's legit. Well, when that drops, we'll make sure we listen to it. Last thing we're gonna do before we get about it here, very last one. We're gonna switch gears. We're gonna talk Tom Cruise, right? Now, Mission Impossible is coming out next month. We're gonna talk about all the Mission Impossible, but I wanted to kind of switch this up and talk some relationship stuff. Okay, now we got this article. Tom Cruise will reportedly take no part in daughter story's upcoming big life choice. Okay, now on the surface, who really cares, right? Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, they have their thing, and however they want to raise their daughter is up to them. But we do have some people that watch this show, and some people that watch this show are in relationships. And I wanted to pose this question to you. So we have Larry upstairs, and I'm not saying that we're going to fall into this, but the idea that you can be this successful, Tom Cruise, right? He does pay child support, I guess. He gives
Yes.
her what he needs, right? So there's not any kind of like he's being a scumbag or anything.
Oh
They
no, no,
just
no.
have their
It's
difference.
very nice lump sum
Right.
every month.
It's a big old lump sum that he's
Mhm.
giving her, right? And this is to Katie Holmes and to their daughter, Sori. Now, when they had Suri, I believe that's when he was really big into the Scientology. He was jumping up and down on Oprah's couch, all that kind of good stuff. And Katie Holmes filed for divorce. I believe that was 2013. So she files for divorce, and it says here that Tom hasn't seen Suri since like 2014. So it's been about 10 years, and he hasn't seen his daughter. Does religion really make you not want to see your dad or make you not want to see your daughter anymore? Like how does that work? Like I understand that him and Katie, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I feel like Scientology is completely different. It's a different breed. So the types of things that Kate had to go through, like I don't know for sure. Like I only know a few certain things about things, but I really wouldn't want my child um, raised in that environment. If you choose to, that's fine.
well, that's one thing to not want to live together anymore, and of course you can be divorced, but to go 10 years without being involved in her life because of that religion. I don't know if that's why, but it seems to be that is why. That seems a lot. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand why you can't come by and have a birthday. Like come to the birthday party. You don't gotta drop the
I,
whole alien talk at the
I
birthday party. You can just be the dad.
right, but I think that's part of the Scientology. Like he can't do any of those things.
Oh, you
That
can't.
that's under my impression.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I don't really know, but I think he can't
It's a little bit of
do
that
certain things.
Jehovah Witness piece with the birthdays and stuff, the celebrations. But I mean, I wasn't even trying to say it like that. It's just you don't want to talk to your daughter no more. It's like I said, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but it begs a question on normally like I know a lot of people who when they do separate the relationship was so toxic that you just can't be around this person. Now at the same time though, you still try to co-parent. You still
Right.
try to at
Right.
least check in, right? Now this kind of feels like a reverse 50 Cent, right? Where 50 Cent doesn't talk to his son and stuff, and 50 Cent's all in the news about that. And you got a similar thing going on here. So I just kind of want to get your vibe on what you thought about this, because I kind of saw this. I was like, that's wild.
Yeah. But their relationship is kind of um different because the whole Scientology thing is a big thing, and they like take control of your life and stuff. So, well, that's just my impression on it. But also in the article, she says that she wants to stay in New York because she likes that life, but she's open to going wherever she wants to go.
Oh, that's good.
So,
That's where the lump sum comes in.
yeah.
Lump sum's nice.
And they did say that he will be paying for college.
See, man, I don't know, bruh. You can't come call me like dad. I
Well,
don't want
because
to talk to you.
child support ends at 18.
I know. But he's still paying money for the college. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
As a parent,
I wouldn't.
he wants to do it.
I wouldn't do that. If I don't see you in 9, 10 years, nah, fam, gotta figure it out. You ain't gonna see this money for 9, 10 years. Try again.
Yeah.
Try one more again. Katie Holmes got the bread.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, that's all my thoughts on that. We got anything else?
Nope.
Short
That
show
was
today.
all it. Yeah.
Short show today. Sorry guys, we were trying to get on live at around 7:30, but it took a little bit longer to put Little Man down. But we will be back again tomorrow with a brand new, newer, better. We're still working out some of the technical difficulties. I don't expect for the show to start running really, really smoothly until hopefully next week.
Yeah.
As we work out all the kinks. But do we have anyone in the chat? No. Okay. Cool. All right. With that being said, this is the Lando Project. Thank you. Finger guns. We're out.